Resuming debate, reprise de débat, the honourable member for Sudbury.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. On March 22nd, our government delivered its second budget. And today I rise to talk about the ways in which Budget 2017 is meeting the needs of my riding of Sudbury and indeed all of Northern Ontario. Budget 2017 continues our government's plan to strengthen the middle class, the heart of Canada's and Sudbury's economy, and makes responsible investments. These will provide Canadians and Sudburyans with good, well-paying jobs and opportunities in our new, innovative economy. Budget 2017 makes smart investments to help adult workers retrain and upgrade their skills. It helps adapting to changes in the new economy and young people getting the skills and work experience they need to start their careers. Le budget 2017 investit dans les aînés et dans la jeunesse. Nous investissons dans le logement social, dans nos vétérans et nos Premières Nations. Des investissements nécessaires pour les communautés comme celle de Sudbury qui connaît sa part de succès. For starters, Madam Speaker, Budget 2017 provides a further $25 million in core funding for FedNor, the Federal Economic Development Agency for Northern Ontario, over the next 5 years. The increase will boost FedNor's base budget to $46 million a year, reversing years of budget cuts. Last fall, I worked with my colleague, the Minister of Labour from Thunder Bay Superior North, to draft a growth strategy for Northern Ontario. One of the things we heard loud and clear was that Northerners want a budget increase for FedNor. They wanted to reverse years of Conservative government cutbacks. This recommendation to increase FedNor's budget was also supported by our Northern Ontario caucus. J'étais très heureux de voir notre recommandation prise en considération dans le budget, de voir notre plan stratégique de croissance du Nord de l'Ontario aller de l'avant. Madam Speaker, this is just the skirt of the good news, because there's a lot more for Northern Ontario. We are very pleased that Budget 2017 is advancing Canada's efforts to build a clean economy. It's investing almost $22 billion in green infrastructure, including initiatives that will support the implementation of the Pan-Canadian Framework on Clean Growth and Climate Change. Sudburyans understand that a strong economy and clean environment go hand in hand. As I have told this chamber many times before, my riding of Sudbury is an established global leader in the innovation of mining and mining technology. À Sudbury, nous avons bâti notre réputation. Nous sommes leaders du secteur minier. Nos méthodes sont plus efficaces et prouvées que n'importe où dans le monde. Sudbury companies have been providing clean tech solutions to mining challenges for a generation. And now, we are marketing these clean tech solutions all over the world. Today, Sudbury's mining and clean tech cluster consists of more than 300 companies. They employ almost 14,000 skilled workers and experts. Sudbury alone generates approximately $4 billion in revenue each year. Increasingly, these mining supply and services companies are testing international waters. They are making inroads in the United States, Latin America, Africa, Europe, and Russia. The Sudbury companies behind these projects are using innovation to drive economic and environmental benefits. They use innovation to create jobs and help strengthen this vital economic engine for Canada. They strengthen Canada's middle class in the process. Et Madame la Présidente, laissez-moi vous dire de quoi je suis encore plus fier. Que notre gouvernement croit au potentiel et à la force des technologies vertes, des technologies qui créent de l'emploi et alimentent l'innovation. The global market for clean technologies is already more than $1 trillion per year, and it's growing. They are creating good-paying, secure jobs for Canadians. The clean technologies contribute to the fight against climate change, and they make our economy more sustainable. And I am proud that our government understands this potential. This is why our recent budget made significant investments in clean technology, including $200 million in support clean technology research in Canada's natural resources sector, $12 million for a clean growth hub that will improve access to federal resources and labs for Canadian entrepreneurs and innovators, and more than $14 million to track our progress so we can report that to Canadians. Canadian companies are capturing their share of the emerging global market for mining innovation and clean technology, and we support their efforts. We support them from waste management to biofuels to greener solutions for the oil and gas industry. Madam Speaker, this is just the beginning of what Budget 2017 means for Sudbury and Northern Ontario. Almost 10% of Sudbury's population is Indigenous. There are several dozen First Nations communities in Northern Ontario, including some of the most remote communities in Canada. Budget 2017 includes a $4 billion investment into on-reserve infrastructure. This much-needed investment will provide housing, health centres, and water treatment systems to communities that need them the most. As well, First Nations people living off reserve will have access to a $225 million investment over the next 11 years. These investments will go towards needed repairs, renewals, rental subsidies, and new construction. These are important investments being made in First Nation communities across Northern Ontario. Already this year, I have had the privilege of announcing $10 million for seniors' health and children's welfare for First Nations people in Northern Ontario. On top of that, on behalf of the Minister of Health, I was pleased to announce a $1 million investment to support the work of two top researchers at the Health Sciences North Research Institute and at Laurentian University. Leurs travaux porteront sur de nouvelles approches qui permettraient de répondre à deux défis significatifs: le vieillissement et la démence chez les Premières Nations, les Inuits et les populations métisses. As well, I was proud to stand with the Minister of Indigenous Affairs to announce an investment of more than $9 million to help First Nations in Northern Ontario raise children in healthy and safe environments. Madam Speaker, our government will invest more than $11 billion under its new national housing strategy. These investments cover initiatives designed to build, renew, and repair Canada's stock of affordable housing. They'll ensure that Canadians have adequate and affordable housing meeting their needs. This includes $225 million to improve housing conditions for Indigenous people, as I've just said. So through Budget 2017, our government is advancing reconciliation as well with Indigenous people. It is advancing reconciliation through investments in infrastructure and First Nations and Inuit health, through actions to strengthen Indigenous communities, funding to support education and training, and measures to promote language and culture. Madame la Présidente, savez-vous que j'ai entendu le plus souvent quand je faisais du porte-à-porte avant l'élection de 2015, que les Sudburois veulent un gouvernement fédéral qui s'occupe à nouveau du logement social? Notre gouvernement a entendu ce message. Notre gouvernement a pris les mesures nécessaires et a pris son leadership en main. In fact, housing is the largest single commitment in Budget 2017. Our commitment is to rebuild, renew, and repair Canada's stock of affordable housing, and we'll do that. Those initiatives include responses to Indigenous housing, crisis on and off reserve. It is also promising more money for the provinces and municipal partners that spend on their own housing priorities. Our government will create a new co-investment fund. It will pool resources among many housing partners, including the private sector. The fund will also expand an existing lending facility for municipalities and for the construction of new affordable housing. One of the first things that I did as an MP was to meet a number of housing service providers in Sudbury. And I was shocked to learn, for example, that the Greater Sudbury Housing Corporation alone has a backlog of deferred maintenance of more than $10 million. The corporation has an ambitious energy management plan. This plan would retrofit most of the properties to make them more sustainable, energy efficient, and comfortable. A $3 million investment would pay itself back in 20 years. These are exactly the kinds of projects our government needs to be investing in. And I want to help to get these off the ground in Sudbury. Madam Speaker, there is so much more in Budget 2017 to support the middle class for Canadians. There's so much more to support those that are working hard to join this middle class. There's help for unemployed people to access training and employment supports that they need. Budget 2017 boosts this federal support by almost $3 billion over the next 6 years. Pour les Sudburois qui cherchent du travail, cela veut dire plus de chances de mettre leurs compétences à jour, plus d'opportunités de gagner de l'expérience ou d'avoir de l'aide pour démarrer leur entreprise. Ça veut aussi dire plus d'appui. De l'appui comme les conseils en matière d'emploi pour planifier leur carrière. In addition, we are identifying skill gaps with employers and exploring new and innovative approaches to skills development for the provinces. You will agree, Madam Speaker, that our adult students can face challenges in pursuing learning as well. Part-time students from Sudbury, as well as adult students with dependent children, will now be eligible for Canada Student Grants. This means more non-repayable assistance for adult learners and workers. It will help them manage the high cost of post-secondary education and will help them balance the financial pressures of raising a family. Madam Speaker, as a tax lawyer, I understand the importance of fair and equitable tax system. Our government has committed to undertake a wide-ranging review of tax expenditures. The review's objective is to eliminate poorly targeted and inefficient tax measures. The review will allow our government to identify opportunities to reduce the tax benefits that unfairly benefit the wealthiest Canadians. Under Budget 2017, we are making changes to simplify the tax system. We'll make existing tax relief for individuals and families more effective and accessible. For example, since our new Canada Child Benefit was implemented, more than 7,400 families in Sudbury alone have benefited from increased payments. C'est tout un investissement dans nos familles à Sudbury. On the other side of the tax coin is collections. Madam Speaker, when some choose not to pay their fair share of taxes, it places an unfair burden on the taxes and on other Canadians. So, Madam Speaker, those are only some of the measures that are in this budget. And I would be pleased to take any questions on this because I'm so proud of the budget that it's investing in Canadians, Sudburyans, and across Canada. Merci, Madame.
Questions and comments? The Honourable